Hello, my name is Carol May Whittick. Welcome to Her Conversations, Tools for the Awakening Woman. Her is an acronym for Higher Energetic Resonance. This is the optimal state to embody in order to attract our highest desires. Who is the awakening woman? She is a woman who's seeking a greater possibility in her reality and looking for solutions. She knows being awakened is not a lofty ideal but a necessity. If she can transform herself, she can change the world. Her conversations will introduce you to talented women who will speak to your spirituality, your sensuality, your soul. They share their stories and explain how they are in service to the world. So let their words and these conversations embolden and inspire you. My guest on this week's Her Conversations is Veronica Jean-Louis of Higher Realm Holistics. She is a certified Holistic-Integrative health nurse, an empathic medical intuitive, energy healer and spiritual counsellor. During our conversation, Veronica shares about her own recent career transition and stepping out into her truth as a light worker, guiding others on their ascension journey as they awaken. We also talk about creating with fifth dimension energy, the truth about the twin flame experience, how to collapse timelines and how to really surrender into who we know ourselves to be. She also shares about the consequences that she faced when she went against her own gut feeling. But as always, I start each episode by asking my guests, Her is an acronym for Higher Energetic Resonance. When do you feel at your most her?
I am most her when I'm doing a session with a client. Because at that moment in time, I'm performing what I'm here to do, what I feel I'm here to do at this particular moment in this time of my personal evolution. Right when I'm in a session with someone, I feel I'm performing my life purpose.
And I wanted to ask you, like, you have a list of things that, you know, I've watched probably all of your videos actually, just kind of like getting to know you and getting to know about the work that you do. It's like, how did your life lead you into doing all the work that you've done and the work that you're specifically doing and the messages that you're pushing out now?
Well, it was, I'm not going to say by accident. It's a bit of a surprise to me, to be honest with you, that I'm actually going down this spiritual counseling route, because to me, my spirituality was always very private and personal, and it was always the driving force behind everything I do. But to be honest, I thought I'd be in my office with my little white coat on, doing my holistic health. And the first videos I did, which were back in May of this year, because I opened my office in March of this year, 2018. So I did my first little videos, and it was just me in my office talking about holistic health. And when I made my first spiritual videos, that was in August of this year. That's when I made my first videos. And I was guided to by my oversoul after experiencing a tower moment. And I could not work because I was in the middle of this crazy investigation. And my oversoul is like, the reason why you're in this moment right now is because you have to start making these videos, because it's time that you share all your journey, and that's going to help pull others along. And my oversoul literally referred to me as a Sherpa. A Sherpa is somebody who guides somebody up a mountain. I'm like, no, you know, I resisted for days until I literally could not sleep anymore. And then I just was like, what? I just did it. You know, I did my first video, and the response has been absolutely amazing. And to my surprise, and my oversoul also said that I was going to put not only my medical education and license to work, but I'm going to put my psychological experience and degrees to work also. And I was like, ooh, how's that? You know, I used to work in adolescent psych, and I'm doing spiritual counseling and guiding. And that's actually the bulk of what I'm doing. I barely touch on the holistic health part anymore. So it's a surprise to me.
And how are you adjusting to this is what you're doing now as well? It's like, you know, you said at the beginning, it's like, really, is this, you know, you're fighting it. What was the main resistance? Was the resistance within yourself? Was it what you thought other people would think? Did you think there was actually need for it?
It was within myself. And part of it was, oh my God, I'm going to be an even bigger weirdo than people think of me as. How am I supposed to explain this to my friends and family? I mean, my sisters are different because they know about ascension and awakening, and my best friend, we've always been together dealing with that since we were children. So that wasn't the issue. But I'm like, oh my God, how am I going to explain this to any guy or anybody else? And I still don't even bother explaining it. I just say, yeah, I'm in holistic health. That's it. I don't even go into it.
So what has been the biggest message that you felt that you've had to start delivering?
The biggest message is, well, there are like two big messages that I felt were the most important I delivered. Number one is boundaries. Light workers setting boundaries, because that is difficult, because you end up having that I want to save the world syndrome. And when it comes to your own family, even your own children or parents, you have to see them with your evolved eyes, with your 5D eyes, and see their soul and not their 3D self. That's a big one. And number two is coming to grips with the whole awakening process and realizing, like, okay, like I'm going to give an example. Had several military guys, and they were all involved in the war and everything. And then they had their awakening, and they were very angry. And the whole feeling of complete and utter betrayal, to the point where they wanted to go literally just go kill people. They were like so angry, and they wanted, I got to take out the other side. The government needs to go. And I had to talk them off of the ceiling, you know, and they were so suicidal. All of them were extremely suicidal because they could not live with what they did. So that was extremely important. And I was like, wow, you know, after I get off the session with them, I'm like, holy cow, did I just do that? Because I completely surrender when I'm in a session, and I connect with the person's oversoul, and I'm totally connected with my oversoul, and I speak through my higher self. And that is how I conduct the session, to be completely connected and to allow the right information to flow to help the person for their highest and best good, which is I ask every time I go on. So it's so amazing to see the results. And then I get the emails afterwards saying, oh yeah, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. You know, I don't feel suicidal anymore. I'm completely out of my cloud, you know, and it's just phenomenal. It's phenomenal.
And what are you noticing maybe as a common trait in the clients that are coming to you? What are the main things that they're coming to you about? What are they noticing, and why are they coming to you, and what are you helping to reveal for them?
The number one thing is trying to figure out if they're on the right path. Like, is what I'm doing what's going on? Because everything is blowing up around me. I in this career that I've been in for the past 20 years, what the heck? I've been married for 10 years, and everything just completely changed. I can't even look at my spouse the same way. I can't walk into my job anymore because it is completely different. Am I on the right path? And what I help them do is, I don't sit there and say, go get a divorce, you know? I don't sit there and say, yeah, quit your job, screw your job, you know? And then, oh, how are you going to feed your 3 kids? I don't do that. I help them connect with their oversoul, allow them, help them surrender to their higher self to gain that guidance and clarity for themselves. And yes, there are a lot of times where I do see, okay, the reason why you left this job was because of this, because this is waiting for you, ABC. And there's a lot of times I do see that. But there's still always a choice. There has been a couple of times where I told people, okay, this is coming, that is coming, and they'll call me or write to me and say, oh my God, this actually happened. I got this offer. I'm like, just be careful, because it's not always how you think it's going to be. You know, it doesn't look, you always hear that, it doesn't always look like what you think it's going to look like. And when it comes in, it's like, oh yeah, but you know, oh, it's not the money I want. And it's not, oh, I thought it was going to be bigger than that. It's like, no, because you're meant to build it. That's why it's coming to you on the ground level. It's your baby. You have to build it in 5D. And some people walk away. Some people walk away. It's really your choice. I'm just there to deliver the information, help you to see your way clear.
One of the videos that as well, when you're talking about building, one of the videos that I really enjoyed from you is when you were talking about the fact that you pray for things, but then you have to put the action in. And that's, like you're saying, with things like law of attraction and vision boards and the secrets, where everyone just sort of sits and visualizes and just expects it to like magically materialize. Can you just elaborate on what it means to actually call something in, but actually be prepared to make it happen? Like you previously alluded to it in the last answer, but just talk about it a bit more, because I think that's where a little confusion comes from with law of attraction and things.
That's where the confusion comes in, and that's where the big disappointment comes in. And that is when people turn around and walk away. Because, you know, they'll be praying for a big opportunity, a new job, something they always want to do. And then that offer will come to them, but then it's not making the money that they expected. Or it's actually a company saying, okay, well, so you know, we thought you had these skills, and you know, we're thinking of starting this division. How would you like to start that division for us? You know, we think you have the skills. We can't afford to pay you, you know, what you're looking for, but we'll see how it goes within a month or a couple of months, and then we'll negotiate, blah blah, and you could run it. You know, that is where we are as light workers. That is, we're going to get ground level stuff because we have to build it. We're here to build. Or you can build on top of something that just started out. We're here to build. So, you know, that is where the disappointment and the upsetting comes in. It's like, oh, it's not what I thought. I thought I was going to go walk in and I was going to work in this amazing, beautiful place. And instead I'm walking this place and it's an empty lot. And they're telling me I have to come up with the ideas. But they offered it to you. That, you know, this is how the universe is delivering it to you. Are you up to the challenge? That is where people get disappointed. That's when they're like, oh, it didn't manifest. Sure it did. You just have to put in the work.
And I know from my own personal experience, this year, 2018, has been a year of a lot of closing. Has that been an overall theme that you've seen with a lot of your clients, where they've come to you and, like you said, marriages, jobs, situations that they've been in for a lifetime can't go forward anymore? Can you, from an oversoul point of view, explain why that seems to be happening on a mass level?
Because it is a time such as this, because we're in the point as light workers, there's the light worker collective and there's the human collective, okay? The light worker collective, we are the Sherpas for the human collective who are just awakening now. And as you could see, you know, what's going on over in Europe, they're awakening and they're angry in the streets. As for us light workers, we are shedding our last bits, closing our last doors that we need to close, because come 2019, because of the way the energies are going, we have to be there and ready and set up to start building in 5D and ushering in and shining our light for those people who are very lost and confused and like, what the heck, our world has been a lie around us. They're all waking up. This is just the beginning. Wait till 2019. The energy is only going to build and build and build more and more are going to awaken because the 3D veil is down. So for us as light workers, that is why everything in 2018 has been a year of ending stuff, of putting things to rest that cannot survive in 5D energy. That's basically it. That is why so many marriages, It's literally every other session is a divorce going
Wow.
on. And I'm not exaggerating when I say every other session is a divorce going on. And that is because that marriage was built on a 3D construct. It was built on a 3D idea. And if you're a light worker and it's not your twin flame that you're married to, it's not going to survive. If that spouse is not ascending along with you, and it's not to say they're on the same level as you, they don't have to be on the same, but they have to be awakened.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you can't have somebody who's completely asleep with an ascending person. It's just, you're in different realms, literally. So you're not going to be able to take them up with you. I mean, could later they wake up with the rest of the collective and you know, you could be friends or something like that later on? Sure, you know, you're not leaving it. It's not to say you're going to leave everybody 100% behind, but as a light worker, it's time for you to move on. You know, it's time for you to graduate to the next level. You got to leave junior high school and go to high school now, simply put.
And you talk about building in 5D. What does building in 5D mean, as best as you can describe it?
It means using 5-dimensional energies to build basically heaven on earth. Mm-hmm. It's to build a new world, because all these 3rd-dimensional structures, everything built in 3rd-dimensional is crumbling. Like, let's say the entertainment business. Okay, what's going on? We all know it's seeped in darkness, seeped in satanic rituals, seeped in its sexual depravity. Okay, and I'm talking from someone who was an insider. I was a model. I modeled in New York. I modeled in LA, and trust me, they tell no lies with the stuff I've seen. Okay, so all that stuff is going to be exposed more and more. And those of us who are working with 5-dimensional energies, we're the ones who have to step up and build anew. Because when I say building, because there's nothing we could use that they have. Let's take from where I am right now, from medicine, conventional medicine. You cannot fix something that really isn't broken. It's not broken. It was made to be that way, and it's been functioning for millennia that way. It must be completely blown up, which it is being blown up, taken down, and built with higher energy.
When we start to move and build in 5D energies, what things are we going to be able to do to help those who are going to be awakening at a different rate? And we all know who they are. You know, we've all got them in our circle, friends and families who don't quite understand what we're doing. And, you know, there comes a point when you realize trying to explain your journey and what you're seeing and what's being revealed to you, there's no need having a conversation like that. Not because you don't want to tell them, is because it just is outside of the realm of their visioning at the time.
It goes over their head. You're trying to teach, you know, geometry to a 2-year-old. That's just not going to happen. The only thing you can do, and the only thing you're supposed to do, is shine your light, is stand in your truth. And that's what it's always been. That's what it always has been about, is standing in your truth. And you stand in your truth and you shine your light, and whoever is attracted to your light will be drawn into you. They will start asking you questions. I did do a video about this past Thanksgiving. I was at my cousin's house. None of them are light workers, just good people. And I saw sparks of awakening going on because of the after dinner conversation that was happening. I was very surprised about that. I was very pleasantly surprised about the after dinner conversation. And the thing is, they know who to turn to, because you've always been standing in truth. So everyone literally turned around and was like, "What do you think?" And I was like, because I was just sitting there quiet, letting them chatter, and they're like, "Okay, what do you think? What do you think about what's going on right now? Why is that happening? What do you think about the pharmaceutical company? This stuff is coming out. What do you think about this going on in Hollywood? Do you really think that person's doing that?" You're the one they're going to turn around and ask the answers to, because you've always been standing in your truth and shining your light. That's the whole thing. There's no need for us to go knocking on doors.
Mm-hmm.
We just stand in our light. Lighthouses don't move. Lighthouses just shine their light, and the ship's lost at sea. Catch the light and follow it into shore. That's it.
That's the best way to explain it. And you talk about twin flames, and there's been so much over the years that I've read and listened to talks and lectures and videos about twin flame relationships and soulmate relationships. What is your definition, and how do you explain a twin flame experience to someone?
Oh God, that's how you explain the twin flame experience.
I know, sorry, but anyway,
Literally,
not sorry.
oh God, I hear people say, "I want to find my twin flame." Like, are you sure about that?
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah.
It's like, oh really? Oh, so, and I've had so many people write to me and say, "I'd like to know if you would like to be my twin flame." I'm like, no, because I have enough issue dealing with the real one. I definitely know. People aren't getting it because it's so romanticized.
Mm.
And no matter how many times you say that the twin flame situation is about mirroring each other and breaking down every barrier and every insecurity that you have, they're not getting it. A lot of people still aren't getting it. And they get very upset when you're like, you don't understand. You don't ask for this stuff. Anybody who's in a real twin flame situation would be like, I really was not looking for this. This hit me like a bag of rocks in the side of my head. That's what twin flame feels like, okay? And in my situation, my oversoul, because I have such a strong connection, my oversoul was like, you could have a soulmate. Because I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want it. I don't want it. And my oversoul took me to my soulmate. It's like, here he is, and I was like, wow, I already like this guy. This is fantastic. Oh yeah, you'll have a happy little life. Being a happy little wife to him, he'll be amazing to you. You guys will be very much in love and happy, but you will never achieve what you're supposed to achieve and raise to the level that you're supposed to raise, soul-wise or anything else-wise, if you choose him over your twin flame. Only your twin flame is supposed to work with you on this. And I'm like, WTF, that is so not fair. But I had to make that conscious decision, which I made actually just a few days ago when my oversoul gave me this mantra of, I accept him, I receive him, and everything that comes with him. And I was like, I had to choke out that everything that comes with him thing. Because that's a tough one. That's a tough one to chew. And that does not mean abuse and narcissism. And that's another thing. People are like, oh yeah, I fight with my twin flame all the time and blah, blah, and he hit me. No, that's not your twin flame. It's so hard to explain to people who are so stuck in the 3D explanation of a relationship, It's a divine thing. It is, and anything divine that's meant for your spiritual growth is not going to be all that pleasant all the time. Once you guys get over all that, once you guys work through all your insecurities, that is when it's like magic. It's like boom, and you're finally together and you guys rise together. The twin flame relationship is together for a specific relationship. Can you achieve things with a soulmate? Can you be happy with a soulmate? Yes. But if you're meant to unite with your twin flame in this lifetime, not everyone has a twin flame to unite with in this lifetime. That's another thing people are understanding. Not everyone has a twin flame. It's like, oh, I'm trying to find my twin flame. You don't look for your twin flame. You guys will come across each other. You're not looking for this person. God knows I was not, like I said, I was shown 2 years prior to meeting my twin flame what he looked like. I was never shown his face, just the really distinct parts of him, his clothes and his hair, which is very, very distinct. And when I walked into the room and I saw him, I said, hell no, and I walked right back out. My boss had to get me out of the bathroom. It's like, no, you're going to come. What are you doing? You have to come take care of this. And I'm like, no, What? And then guess what? I pretended to be sick and I got to go home because I did not want to deal with it. I was like, oh, hell no. No. Even if those skinny jeans can go. I was like, no. I don't want to be part of this mess. That is usually the reaction you get when you meet your twin flame. Like, oh no.
That's hilarious. That's so good. Yeah. I don't think I've personally, I don't know actually. There was one person that I thought was my twin flame because they just caused so much contention in my life. Because there was I don't know, but I think I was kind of like caught in a loop of mass delusion at the time as well. And when I look back on it, it was like, I don't think that was it, because I was, you know, you kind of like, you're in a situation and you're watching too many of certain type of YouTube videos and it all gets meshed up. You know what I mean? So
yes,
that was what was going on. A
lot of confusion. And from what my experience, my personal experience and therapy-wise, session experience, most people, when you come to a realization of someone being your twin flame, it's a knowing, flat out. It's a knowing in your gut. There's no question about it. You want to run the hell away. But, and it's usually in a situation that you don't expect. It's not like, oh, hi, let's go on a date. No, it's usually not that kind of situation. It's usually husband's best friend who we both grew up and known each other since we were in junior high school, but I married my husband, but I always had a thing for his best friend. And now all of a sudden, boom, it blew up. And now I realize I got the wrong guy, but I always knew I had the wrong. It's very much that.
Relating to another one of your videos that I really enjoyed as well, when you were talking about timelines, and in particular the story around your granddaughter. I don't know if you want to share that.
Oh yeah, sure, I'll share that. My granddaughter, she is my daughter's guardian, one of my daughter's guardian angels that incarnated to help guide my daughter, to assist her in her ascension process. Okay. My daughter is an older earth soul who's been stuck in the karmic recycle loop of earth for a while. So her and I, our souls made a deal that I would help pull her out of this and assist her to ascend, and she would help me not want to kill myself, basically. I'm dead serious about that. I'm very serious about that. I was always extremely suicidal because I just did not want to be on this earth plane. I just always said, I'm in hell. This is hell. Get me out. I don't belong here. I don't belong here. All these people are crazy. And I've said that since I was a little kid. So literally, and at the age of 9, I knew I was supposed to have my daughter. I used to draw pictures of her. I knew her name. I knew everything about her. So when I had her, it was like, oh, okay, here she is. Okay. Now she was going off track, and my granddaughter came to me before she was even born, before my daughter even conceived her, and said, I'm here. She showed her little self. I was like, oh my God, there she is, the little ginger redheaded baby. My daughter always said she wanted a little ginger baby, and she's ready. And I told my daughter, and my daughter's like, I'm not pregnant. I'm not gonna. And then a few months later, she's like, oh my God, I'm pregnant. It's like, okay, there's your baby. So my granddaughter and I, we have that connection. So whenever she's sick or something's wrong, her little ethereal body will come to me and ask me to heal her or pray this, or this is going on, mommy needs help, like that. So one day, this was recent, I was in bed, and then she calls me Mimi, and I heard Mimi, Mimi, and I turned around, and there was her little ethereal body standing there. She's 2 years old now, so she's standing there, and she had this huge scar across her head with staples on it, and her hair was like half shaved off, and her body and face was all bruised up. And I said, what happened to you? And she said, they weren't watching me, so I got hurt. And I said, what is going on? And I said, how'd you get hurt? And she said, was I ever normal? I said, yes, you were normal, because she also looked mentally retarded. And then she touched her head, and she touched her head after saying, was I ever normal? I said, yes, you were normal. She touched her head. And the next thing I knew, she took me to that moment. I was in that timeline where she was there, and there was another child, a little boy who was there. And it was like a TV or case fell on top of her. And that's how the injury happened. And I said, oh my God. And she said, can you help me, Mimi? Please help me. And I was like, yes, I'll help you. And then I was back in my room again. And I immediately was like, okay, St. Jude is who my grandmother always said to call on St. Jude, who's a master, who's and if you read the Bible, he's Jesus's cousin. So I was like, my grandmother always said, St. Jude is our patron saint. He's always the one watching over our families. I'm like, okay. And I called on him many a time. I'm like, okay, St. Jude. And I saw the green light. He always comes in a green light. And it was like 5 something in the morning. I called my best friend. I called both my sisters. I said, okay, time to pray to St. Jude. This happened. They're like, oh my God. Okay, let's pray. Let's pray. And then my younger sister, she's like, let's call on my daughter's fiance, because my daughter is not going to be the one to help. She's like, okay, let's call on him, because he's actually a guardian of both of them. He has an archangel soul. Actually, Archangel Michael is part of his oversoul, and he's literally there to watch over my daughter and my granddaughter, because I connect to his oversoul all the time. So like, okay, let's pray that he gets involved. Later on, around 10 something in the morning, I called my daughter. I called up. I said, okay. I said, is the baby okay? Yeah, the baby's fine. Why? I was like, well, I just had a feeling something happened. She goes, well, I took her to the babysitter this morning, and the babysitter wasn't there. Her 10-year-old son was there, and I called up the babysitter. She told me just to leave the baby with her son, and that, she'd be there in a couple of hours. I was running late for work, so I didn't know what to do. So I called, let's say R, her fiance. I called R, and I told him, and he said that he'll come home and bring the baby back home, and he'll stay with her, and she's no longer going to go back to that babysitter, which is exactly what was supposed to happen. He saved by him saying, oh no, I'm coming home. I'm going to watch her. She's no longer going back there, because that doesn't make any sense to me. That's dangerous. Immediately, I knew that timeline was collapsed, that was over, because we interceded. Had we not, my daughter was going to leave her there. My daughter would have left her there, and then she would have gotten hurt. So that's how we collapsed that timeline.
And how can we do that for ourselves? How can we recognize that we have the opportunity to collapse the timeline?
When it comes to that, another timeline I just collapsed a few days ago was my soulmate timeline, when I made that choice. It's when you come to a certain crossroads. It's about being really in tune with yourself, and being in tune with your oversoul. And it comes with practice. It comes with meditation. It comes with surrender. And it comes with trusting yourself. That is the most important. Trust yourself. That gut feeling, I'm sure we've all had that gut feeling. Every person has had that gut feeling that told them, uh-oh, this is not right. If I do this, something real bad is going to happen. Sometimes you go ahead and do it anyway. Sometimes you go ahead and do it anyway, and you end up going down that bad timeline. When my ex-husband proposed to me, and this is no joke, when he proposed to me, I threw up. I threw up all over the place, because I was like, oh my God, no. Every part of me was screaming, no. Every part.
What did you throw instantly?
Yeah, literally, like we were driving home from a restaurant, and it was my birthday, and he was like, oh, what's that on your hand? I'm like, what? And I'm looking up, and he's like, what's that out the window? And I'm like, huh? And I'm looking out the window, because we're about to pull up to his family's house, and he slipped the ring on my finger. I looked at the ring, the engagement ring, and I literally barfed all over the dashboard. I don't know if you ever seen that episode of Sex and the City when Aiden proposes to Carrie and she starts throwing up. That was me. But that was me from the car from the car, up the driveway, up the stairs, into his family's house, as everyone was saying, congratulations, I'm running through the house, throwing up into the kitchen sink. That was me. Okay? And you just gotta laugh at these things, but it was like, damn. Every part of me said no. Every part of me said no. And then I went, I did it anyway. And yeah, but here's how you could know it and still do it and totally mess yourself up. I said no. I went and married him anyway. Of course, 6 months later, separated. For 13 years going back and forth. And every time we got back together, I would always get that warning from my oversoul. And this is before I even knew I had an oversoul. It was, I would always hear that voice in my head, you will lose everything every time you take him back. And sure enough, my life would be peaches and cream. Literally, I'm not kidding. My life would be amazing. I feel guilty because of the single mom syndrome thing. Take him back, and I literally would lose everything. Everything. And I always hear that voice say, you will never keep what you're supposed to while he's in your life. Period. I have lost homes. When I say homes, I'm talking homes, 3 homes. I'm talking 4,000 square foot homes that I built by myself, 2,000 square foot homes. I've lost homes. I've lost cars, bankruptcy, every time I took that man back in my life. Wow. Because he had no business being in my life. And I was always told that he has no business being in your life, but I kept going against what I was supposed to do. So I ended up experiencing that wretched timeline.
And why do you think it is sometimes that even though we have like a really strong gut feeling and you have like a physical, you literally throw up, like which is the complete opposite to what most women do when they get proposed to. It's like tears and joy and you're barfing all over the place, which is like the best reaction that any soul can go, this ain't working for you. It's like, but why did you still persist? Did you think that, you know, maybe your love could transform him, which is, you know, we always kind of fall in love with someone's potential as well. Why did you feel you were worth fear? Fear and guilt.
How do you say no when you walk into the house and everyone's sitting and you pulling up the driveway and there are balloons and everyone's like, congratulations. What do? Like Carrie said, a guy gets on his knees and proposes, you say yes. You don't know what to say. You can't say no. I mean, that's how I felt. Literally, like, I can't say no. How do you say no? I mean, literally, it's just fear. There's only 2 emotions, love and fear, and everything else is an offshoot of that. And it was just fear. And that's what causes people to go against their gut instincts, their second mind, which is in their solar plex area. You know, that is your second mind. That's what causes you to go. That's your spirit mind, as I call it. I mean, because it overrides your brain. It tells you the truth more than your brain tells you the truth. My brain was lying to me. My brain was what putting me in fear, saying, my God, everyone's going to hate you if you don't say yes.
Wow. And, you know, you talk about surrender, and like surrender, there's a couple of things that I always remember about surrender. One, well, it's all kind of centered around Oprah's the story when she spoke about wanting to do the color purple and kind of surrendering and singing that song, I Surrender. And I remember that from early church days about surrendering. It's what does surrender feel like or look like? Because I'm trying to learn surrender for myself about a lot of things, and I think I'm getting better. But how do you guide someone into what surrendering is in order to allow what is for you to actually find you?
That's the number one most important thing when it comes to moving along in your life and ascension, is to not fight your truth. That is surrender to me, to not fight your truth. Okay. My truth is I didn't want to marry the guy. Plain and simple. I didn't want to marry the guy. And had I surrendered to my truth, I would have saved myself a hell of a lot of problems.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That is what surrender is. Not surrendering to your truth. You know your truth. You surrender to it and everything that comes with it. That is why that's like that mantra is everything. I've been repeating it nonstop in everything that comes with it, because the fear also is the consequences. Okay, I surrender, but there's going to be consequences. And what are the consequences if you go against yourself? If you surrender, yeah, you might be facing some hardship for a minute, but at the end result will be for your highest and best good. And if you don't surrender and go against yourself, go against your truth, it will never be good. Plain and simple. It just won't.
And you guide people to meditations, and how can somebody do or like a simple meditation of just finding or kind of tuning into what their truth is, and I want to say safety of it, even though it doesn't feel safe, but knowing that things are going to work out anyway.
The number one thing that I usually say when it comes to surrendering and meditation is I start and end my meditations with this all the time. I'm here, I'm open, I am ready, guide me. I'm listening. My mind is quiet. My heart is open and receptive. Guide me. And I usually say that even after I meditate, right before I put my head on that pillow, I say that, and I say, guide me in visions and dreams. Guide me to my truth. Guide me to my highest purpose and my greatest good. That is what I say. That is the simplest thing. And just listen. You know, people say stuff and then they don't listen. It's listen. Also, you're asking for guidance. You want to connect with your oversoul. Listen.
Yeah.
And, you know, people say, you know, I got the monkey mind. My mind can't stay quiet. What I like to call active meditation is I use sacred geometry. The flower of life is a great one. Metatron's cube is a great one. And the best way to do it, especially if you have, you know, a mind that won't quiet down, is drawing it, because it's called active meditation. Trust me, you will start being so focused on drawing that circle of life or drawing that Metatron's cube. It will empty your mind, and you will be surprised at the end of it, the revelations that you will receive. Because not only are you quieting your mind, but in drawing that and you don't even need to understand what it really stands for. It is unlocking many things in your mind. It is unlocking your spirit. It is connecting you with the universal divine mind as you draw a Metatron cube, as you draw a flower of life. And they're a lot more simple to draw as you think of. They're just circles and lines. And there are many videos out there. All you need is a compass or the bottom of a cup, really. I drew a big flower of life just using the bottom of a cup, and Metatron's cube, the bottom of a cup, and then just using the side of my book to draw the straight lines. That is how I got my biggest breakthroughs, actually.
Great advice, thank you. And talking of advice as well, wanting to ask you, what is the best piece of advice a woman has ever given you?
Best piece of advice a woman ever gave me. I want to say it straight up.
Go for it.
Get a divorce. What are you doing? Get a divorce already. Honestly, that's the best piece of advice I ever got. Get a divorce already. What are you doing? That was my best friend who said that to me. And she's like, but why? And she's the one who's like, you know, you're the one who sits there and tells everybody don't do stuff in fear and everything. But the only reason you keep taking us back is through fear. And I was like, damn. you know, I know, but yeah. And when I finally did it, I never felt so relieved in my entire life. I never felt so relieved in my entire life. It was like, oh, the skies opened up.
And what woman represents higher energetic resonance to you?
Oh, this one of my favorite women in the world. I respect her so much. Is Linda Bolton Howe. She is. I mean, you'll see her. She's been on Gaiam TV, which is not that good, but she's been that network. She's done shows for Gaiam TV. She's been on Ancient Aliens, but she's an amazing reporter. Mm-hmm. She's won Emmys for her reporting. She's amazing and so brave. She's so incredibly brave that she just talks her mind, and she just steps forward on her truth, and she has never backed down from her truth.
I'm just Googling her so I can see a picture of her face. Okay, I don't think I've watched anything of hers. Yeah. Molten Howe. Okay, I'll start looking into her. I've never watched any of her programs, and I used to be on Gaia a lot as well. So yeah, she'll be a new one for me.
There's a lot of investigative work of the paranormal, which is the normal truth. She speaks the truth, man. She speaks the truth. I've been following her since I was like in my early 20s.
She's a new one for me. Okay, and what's your favorite self-care ritual or practice?
My favorite is dancing. I love to dance. If I'm feeling, really antsy and like feel like I have way too much energy, like my body's just vibrating, I have to do a dance class. I do dance classes about 4 times a week.
You teach now, don't you?
Well, I co-teach because like the instructor, he or she will be like, oh, can you come up and help me teach the class? And then I come up and I teach the class. I mean, I don't teach like I used to. I used to teach, but I don't anymore. I'm no longer part of a dance company. I was up until a few years ago. But now I just do my hip hop classes 4 times a week.
Oh, it sounds like fun.
It is fun.
Who are you dancing to now?
It's even more fun when you're out dancing, the 21-year-old next to you who can't keep up.
What tracks are you dancing to right now?
We do Sierra a lot. We do a lot. I mean, I'm in Miami, so it's a lot of reggaeton, And the male instructor who I do, he knows I used to do African dance. And so he does several African dance numbers, which I teach. So I love doing the Nigerian modern club dance music. I love that.
Yeah, I think I need to start doing some dancing actually, because I just love watching those like hip hop dancers on YouTube, when they've got the groups and they'll just kind of, and they've got those little kids that are just doing amazing routines, and I'm like, that's so good. Yeah, I do like a dance. I think I went with a friend, like we went 3 or 4 years, no, even more than that. We went to a hip hop dance class. It was fun. I was no good, but I loved it.
It doesn't matter. Good. Let me tell you, we have people of all ages, guys and gals, people of all ages, and it's just people just enjoying the music and getting the energy out and stuff like that. It's just fun. I'm able to just completely lose myself. For me, it's like a form of meditation. People do walking meditation, and jogging. The 2 things for my active meditation when it comes to physical movement: dancing and rollerblading. That's another thing. They're hand in hand. I both of them.
Wow. Rollerblading. Yeah, I bought a pair of rollerblades once. And then I ended I used them like once or twice, and then I ended up selling them in a car boot sale because they just kept moving from house to house with me, and every time I'd open a box and go, oh, these things.
Oh
So
my goodness.
yeah, I never really got to them, and they were cute. They were really good actually, but I never really took it up. I think just because I didn't want to go on the streets with it, I was a bit nervous of kind of getting in public with it. And
Oh, that was my mode of transportation in college. I used to have my daughter strapped to me.
Yeah.
And I'd have my daughter in front, my backpack in the back, and I'd be rollerblading all over St. John's University campus in New York. And my daughter's like, my God, when she saw the picture, she's like, she goes, what if you fell? Like, the only time I ever fell was when your stupid father tripped me. And I was like, I never fell. You were always safe. It was always good. I even rollerblade with my granddaughter now. So my daughter's like, but you can't have her on a backpack. You have to have her in a carriage. You're not allowed to do that to her.
Wow. And the exercise of it as well, that's one of the reasons that I wish I'd kept it up, because it's all over, isn't it? The first time I tried it, even the inside of my lower arms, like the muscles kind of like from my elbow down to my wrist, they got to work out. I didn't even know that they could be worked out.
Oh, I'm so used to it. I've been doing it for so long. I do it with weights on my ankles and around my wrists, and I don't feel anything. But I've been doing it. I've been skating since I was like 9-10 years old. You know, so
like you probably move like water through people and kind of do like really close to.
Yeah, I'm one of those. Yeah. Like when I go ice skating with my kids, and like, you know, there's always some annoying teenagers bugging the little kids. My kids were like, Mom, go get him, Mom, go get him. And I'll be like, I'll zoom through just, I won't even touch you. I just gotta peek through you, bam, and you're like, ah, and you fall. It's fun being a starseed because, you know, also the aging process, that's a lovely thing. You know, you don't age like that when you get to a certain point. So it weirded me out at first, but now it's like, it's cool, you know?
Well, it'll just get cooler and cooler because it's hard for people women in particular have a problem with advancing in age or it actually physically showing. So, you know, and the extremes that everyone's going to, my heart goes out to them really, you know, to get to that point where you will go to such extremes to turn back nature.
It's well, because my aging process has been so different, and so it's like weird to me to look at women my age. Like, and I said in the video, I actually lie to women my age and tell them I'm younger only because it upsets them when I say, hey, guess what? I'm 50. You know, it pisses them off. But it's like, I made the video about the aging process when it comes to being a light worker, because our aging process is different. It's slower. What you are, you know, and because there's no hiding it anymore. It's obvious. And it's just going to get more and more obvious as time goes on. It's more and more obvious.
Yeah. So what's next for you then?
What's next for me is, honestly, I'm with everyone else. I'm floating, trying to float ashore on this piece of wood, this driftwood that's left over. I'm in the ocean. I'm almost ashore. I see it up front. And I'm honestly waiting for January and waiting for that to leave the old and go into the new. I'm just going to continue doing what I'm doing right now. What's next for me is what my oversoul has revealed to me is literally starting to build in 5D, not just doing what I'm doing now and doing holistic health and the spiritual counseling, but literally building physical structures. And honestly, I'm just waiting for my funding to come in, you know, however it's going to come in. I'm waiting to reunite with my twin flame because he's a part of it. So I'm just waiting like everybody else, and I'm just continuing to do what I'm doing right now.
And where can everybody find you? What's your website address? And also mention your YouTube channel, because you've got some great videos up there.
Thank you. Well, they're both called Higher Realm Holistics. My YouTube channel is called Higher Realm Holistics. That's S at the end of holistic. And my website is higherrealmholistics.com. And I also have a blog that I started back in 2013 when I was when I was getting a lot of channeled messages. So it has channel messages, it has affirmations and mantras, and that is Divine Young Souls. That is the name of the blog. If you just put in Divine Young Souls, it'll come up. Divine Young Souls at blogspot.com. Oh yeah, and also I have a physical office in North Miami Beach. So if you're in Miami, you can drop by and see me too. But I also do Zoom sessions and phone sessions if you can't be in Miami.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Veronica.
Thank you.
Thank you, Veronica, for joining me on this episode of Her Conversations. And also, I want to thank you too for listening. You can find out more about me by visiting my website, which is carolmaywhittick.com. And I'm also excited to tell you about a new project, which is the Her Life Academy. This is going to be a monthly instruction and inspiration for awakening women. And its intention is to magnify your spirituality, your sensuality, your soul, so that you'll be able to live in higher energetic resonance. This all launches in February 2019. And if you visit my website, there'll be more details for you about it. And also you'll see how you can sign up and gain early bird access and offers. On social media, you can find me on Facebook under Carol May Whittick, and Instagram and Twitter is Kazmic, that's CAZMICK. I'll also appreciate if you would leave a comment, if you'd like, if you share any of the episodes, and also on whatever platform you use. If you subscribe, you'll be notified as soon as a new episode gets published. So thank you again, and until the next episode, take care.